Hi everybody, this is Alchemist 2 and I'm back again with another book review. I just recently read Stephen King's Dark Tower 6, The Song of Susanna. And this is getting closer to the climax of our Dark Tower series. And this deals with a lot of more time jumping and the fact that Stephen King, the author himself, is involved. I thought, oh, self-insertion. This is becoming very meta. But there's a lot of humor involved in that, and it makes it all the more interesting and intriguing and exhilarating as you go along the storyline and figuring out just who the Crimson King really is. There's a lot of mystery behind just exactly who that could be. And I'm reading the final Dark Tower book, and we're getting a little bit more information about that. But I really like the jumping around and the fact that the quartet is now separate and they had to get back together for Susanna to be delivered. And it's actually kind of messed up the way that Mia possesses her, and this is really bizarre, but it's really good. It's extremely well written, and it's just as good as any of the other books. This is probably the shortest of the entire series. I would think that the final book in the Dark Tower is the longest one. This one wasn't very long at all. It seemed woefully short versus all the other Dark Tower books that have been written. And I really like the fact that he includes a lot of modern day tropes and cultural references like Wizard of Oz and Alice and the Mad Hatter through the Looking Glass. And he doesn't talk about 9/11 very much. Yeah, actually he does. In a few of the books he talks about 9/11, which is kind of surreal, and he talks about different music that's involved. Of course, he uses different music in different books, which accentuate the mood, and I found it all very interesting and telling of what was going on. But it's just really bizarre and surreal and eerie, just the different creatures that they run into. And this is more about how they figure out how to join back together and get themselves back on track and figure out who exactly the Crimson King is and who they can trust and who they can't trust, and the fact that the Dark Tower is looming ever closer. Like I said, that's the one thread. It's sort of like with Mark Twain, and the river was the combining theme in all of his adventures with Huckleberry Finn and Tom Sawyer. And it was always the mechanization, the glue that held the plot, and that's what made it good, and that's what holds this together. It's just that whole idea, like the Eye of Sauron, is completely, it's watching them at all points in time. It's similar to the Eye of Sauron. You know, I never really noticed that. I thought, oh, you probably got it from Lord of the Rings, because even though there's no eye, it's just that ominous presence, that all-knowing, all-feeling thing that acts as a constant reminder that this is probably where the Crimson King resides. More than likely, this is the part of their quest. That's what pulls them forward. That's what's keeping them going before they all fall apart at the seams. But they work very well as a team. I noticed that, even though they're all different. Like Eddie's different, Susanna's crippled, which I always thought was really interesting. She gets legs later on in the series. She has legs when she delivers the chap, or the Crimson King, or the Crimson, the Little Crimson King, as he's called in Volume 7. But yeah, it's extremely good, and I really like it. But I haven't been doing a lot as of late because my house is listed. I've having a lot of people look at it, and some people are coming later on at night, and it just is. It's more awkward to do that, so my realtor is saying we're going to have showings in the day rather than at night, and I'm going to be moving. I'm going to find a new place to live in a new job. Hopefully when I like, I'm going to go through ESL online through Skype rather than going overseas. I think that would be a lot better. But things are starting to look up for me, and I think everything's starting to come up alky. So that's all I have to say about Song of Susanna. If you've read the series so far and you like all that time-space continuum sort of crazy mumbo-jumbo that hurts your head, yeah, Song of Susanna is your book. And it's got a lot of the creepy, eerie, ominous factor, the all-telling, that ever-present theme of the tower. Just you know that it's going to end at the tower, and for good or for ill, nobody knows. And of course it becomes meta with Stephen King found dead at 45, or was it 54? I can't remember, but I know that numbers have great significance. And I'm still kind of curious. I don't know if Mr. King is into numerology or not, but a lot of these books kind of suggest that he might be. But still, very interesting. I like the idea that he had a lot of different languages involved. But the old tongue is mostly, it seems like it's Latin. It seems like it has some other borrowing from Scandinavian or Germanic, but mostly Latinate, like the banditos and vaqueros and Espanol, as you know. But beyond that, it's extremely well written, and of course, we're all very pleased with what happens, even though we know that the delivery is indication of more trouble to come. You think, oh yeah, we should all be happy that Susanna is finally delivered, when we know that something bad is about to come, and at the denouement near the winding down, and it's getting to that point. You think, oh my God, something bad's gonna go down, and it will. Knowing Stephen King, yeah, it's gonna go down, and it's gonna go down hard. But that's why I like him. He's brilliant, and he's a stupendous writer, and this series is woefully underappreciated, and you can see a lot of inferences that he took from, like I said, Lord of the Rings. I'm fairly sure that the Eye of Sauron was what inspired him. And it's just the whole idea of this kind of Westworld. I think Westworld was inspired by Mr. King's work, because he has robotic butler servants, and that I thought, oh, that's cool. But they can't be trusted, and they had to keep an eye on them when they start going on the fritz and glitching. And I thought, oh God, just like in Westworld. But anyway, it's very, very intriguing, and looking forward to finally finishing the series not too long from today. So until next time, live long, prosper. Ciao, tutti.